ourselves for a word of prayer. Almighty King Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the gift of life. Lord, during this Bible reading, may you come and be amidst us. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. Today we are reading from the book of Joshua, chapter 11. Northern Kings defeated. When Jabin, king of Hazron, heard this, he sent word to Jabber, king of Madron, to the kings of Simron and Akuron, and to the northern kings who were in the mountains in the abrupt south of Kinthre, in western foothills, and in Napthron Dera on the west, to the Canaanites in the east and west, to the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, and Jebusites in the hill country, and to the Hivites below the Hamron in the region of Mesra. They came out with all the troops and a large number of horses and chariots, a huge army as numerous as the sand on the seashore. All these kings joined forces and made camp together at the waters of Maron to fight against Israel. The Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid of them, because by this time tomorrow I will hand all of them slain over to Israel. You are to hamstring their horses and burn their chariots." So Joshua and the whole army came against them suddenly at the waters of Maron and attacked them, and the Lord gave them into the hand of Israel. They defeated them and pursued them all the way to the greater Sidon, to Mithron, Mia, and to the valley of Mizpah on the east, until no survivors were left. Joshua did to them as the Lord had directed. He hamstrung their horses and burned their chariots. At the time, Joshua turned back and captured Hazor and put his king to the sword. Everyone in it they put to the sword. They totally destroyed them, not sparing anyone that breathed. He burned Hazor itself. Joshua took all those royal cities and their kings and put them to the sword. He totally destroyed them, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded. Yet Israel did not burn any of the cities built on their molds except Hazor, which Joshua burned. The Israelites carried off for themselves all the plant and livestock of their cities, but all the people they put to the sword until they completely destroyed them, not sparing anyone that breathed, as the Lord commanded his servants Moses. So Moses commanded Joshua, and Joshua did it. He left nothing undone, and all the Lord commanded Moses. So Joshua took this entire land, the hill country, all the Arab and the mountain of Israel with their foothills, from Mount Halak, which rises towards Sinai, and Balgal in valley of Lebanon, below Mount Hebron, captured all the kings and put them to death. Joshua waged war against all these kings for a long time, except for Havites living in Gailon. Not one city made a treaty of peace with the Israelites, who took them all in battle. For it was the Lord himself who hardened their hearts to wage war against Israel, so that he may destroy them totally, exterminating them without mercy, as the Lord had commanded Moses. At the time Joshua went and destroyed the Amalekites from the hill country, from Haberon, Dibri, and Aneb, from all the hill country to Judah, and from all the hill country of Israel. Joshua totally destroyed them and their towns. No Anakites were left in the Israelites' territory. Only Gaza, Gath, Ashdod were did Ashdod did any survive. So Joshua took the entire land just as the Lord had directed Moses, and gave it as an inheritance to Israel according to the tribal division. Then the land had rest from war. Chapter 12. These are the kings of the land whom the Israelites had defeated, and whose territory they took over east of Jordan, from Aaron George to Mountain Hermon, including all the eastern side of Arab. Sihon, king of Amorites, who regained from Heshbon. He ruled from Arona on the rim of the Aaron George, from the middle of the George to the river of Jabbok, where the border of Ammonites. This included half of Galilee. He also ruled over eastern Arab, from the Sea of Galilee to the Sea of Arab to Beth Jeshimon, and then southwards towards the slopes of Pisgah, and the territory of Og, king of Bashan, one of the last of the Rephaites, who reigned in Ashtor with Erin. He ruled over Mount Hermon, Selka, all the Bashan, to the border of the people of Gasha, and Makkah, and half of Galilee to the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the Israelites conquered them. And Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave their land to the Reubenites, the Galileites, and the half tribe of Manasseh to their possession. Here is the list of kings of the land that Joshua and the Israelites conquered on the west side of Jordan, from Baal Gad in the valley of Lebanon to Mount Halok, which rises towards Sinai. Joshua gave their lands as an inheritance to the tribes of Israel according to their tribal divisions. The lands included the hill country, the western foothills, the Arab, the mountain slopes, the wilderness of Nev. These were the lands of Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. These were the kings: king of Jericho, king of Ali, king of Jerusalem, king of Babylon, king of Jamphra, king of Lashem, king of Elgon, king of Giza, king of Debi, king of Gila, king of Dohal, king of Beth, king of Lashron, king of Madron, king of Hazron, king of Takma, king of Megiddo, king of Kedesh, king of Jokan in Carmel, king of Do, king of Goyim, king of Tiza. 31 kings. Chapter 13. When Joshua had grown old, the Lord said to him, "You are now very old, and there are still very large areas of land to be taken over. This is the land that remains, all the regions of Palestine and Geshurites, from the river of Shur on the east of Egypt to the territory of Iraq on the north, all of it counted as Canaanite, though held by the 5 Palestine rulers in Gaza: Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron. The territory of Avivites on the south, all the land of Canaanites, from the Arab of Sidonites as far as Apec, and the border of Amorites, the area of Baalots, and all Lebanon to the east from Bala Gal below Mount Hamaron to Lebo Hamath. As for the inhabitants of the mountain regions from Lebanon to Mizraim, that is all the Syrians, I myself will drive them out before the Israelites. Be sure to allocate this land to Israel for an inheritance, as I have instructed you, and divide it as an inheritance among the 9 tribes, and have the tribe of Manasseh. The other half of Manasseh, the Reubenites and the Galileans, had received the inheritance that Moses had given them east of Jordan, as the servant of the Lord had assigned to them. It extended from Aaron to the rim of Araba, George, from the town in the middle of the George, and included the whole plateau of Medeba as far as Diblo, and all the towns of Sihon, king of Amorites, who ruled the Heshbon out of the border of Amorites. It also included Galilee, the territory of the people of Goshen, and Mecca, all of mountain Hamaron, and all Bashan as far as Seleka. That is, when the whole kingdom of Og in Bashan, who had resigned as Ashthorn and Elid. Moses had defeated them and taken over the land, but the Israelites did not drive out the people of Goshen and Mecca, as they continued to live among the Israelites to this day. But to the tribe of Levi he gave no inheritance, since the food offering presented to the Lord, the God of Israel, are their inheritance, as he promised them. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Reuben according to its clans. The territory from Aaron on the rim of Amnon George, from the town in the middle of the George, and the whole plateau past Meder to the Heshbon, has all its towns on the plateau, including Diblon, Bethmor, Beth Jeshurun, Beth Por, slopes of Pisgan, and Beth Josta, all the towns on the plateau, and the entire rim of Silon, king of the Amorites, who ruled at Heshbon. Moses had defeated them, and the Midianites, Sheph, Ave, Rechum, Zom, Reba, princes allied with Syrian, who lived in that country. In addition to those slain in battle, the Israelites had put the sword Bala, son of Bor, who practiced divination. The boundary of the Reubenites, who was the bank of Jordan. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of Reubenites according to their clans. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Gad according to its clans: the territory of Jezer, all the towns of Galilee, and half the Hamorite country as far as Amoron, near Araba, and from Heshbon to Ramoth, and better no, from Marahaim territory extending from Madha in according to all the Bashna, the entire realm of Og King and Vashna, all the settlements in Jar, 60 towns, half of Galilee and Ashton to Elili. This for this was for the descendants of Maliki king Messiah and half of the sons of Elili according to their plans. This is the inheritance Moses had given when he was in the plans of Morim across the Jordan east of Jericho. But to the tribe of Levi, Moses had given inheritance. The Lord, God of Israel, is thy inheritance as he promised them. 14. Now these are the areas the Israelites received as an inheritance in the land of Canaan, which Ezra the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and heads of the tribal clans of Israel are told to them. Their inheritance were assigned by lot to the 9.5 tribes, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. Moses had granted the 2.5 tribes their inheritance east of Jordan, but had not granted the Levites an inheritance among the rest. For Joseph's descendants had become 2 tribes, Mizah and Ephraim. The Levites received no share of land, but only 2 towns to live in, with pasture lands, with their flock and herds. So the Israelites divided the land, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Now the people of Judah approached Joshua at Galilee, and Caleb son of Jephunneh, the Kenites, said to him, "You know what the Lord said to Moses, the man of God, at Kadesh Barnea, about you and me. I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me to Kadesh Barnea to explore the land. I brought him back to report according to the convictions, but my fellow Israelites who went up with me made hearts of the people sink. I, however, followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly. So on that day Moses swore to me, the land on which your feet have walked will be your inheritance, and that of your children forever, because you have followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly. Never then, just as the Lord promised, he has kept me alive for 45 years since the time he said this to Moses, while Israel moved about in the wilderness. So here I am today, 85 years old. I'm still as strong today as the day Moses sent me out, and just as vigorous as to go out to battle now as I was then. Now give me this hill country that the Lord promised me that day. You yourself had then that the Anakites were there, and their cities were large and fortified, but the Lord helping me, I drove them out just as he said. Then Joshua blessed Caleb son of Jephunneh and gave him Hebron as his inheritance. So Hebron has belonged to Caleb son of Jephunneh, to the Kenites, ever since, because followed the Lord, the God of Israel, wholeheartedly. Then the land had rest from war. 15. The land allotted the tribe of Judah according to their clans extended down the territory of Edom to the desert of Zin in the entire south, in the extreme south. Their southern border started from the bay of the southern end of the Dead Sea, crossed south of the Scorpion Pass, continued on to Zin, and went over to the southern Kadesh. Then it trained past Hezron up to Abba and curved around the Ketra. It then passed along Zamran and joined the Wadi of Egypt, ending at the Mediterranean Sea. This is their southern boundary. The eastern boundary is the Dead Sea as far as the mouth of Jordan. The northern boundary started from the bay of the sea at the mouth of Jordan Bear at the mouth of Jordan went up to Beth-hor and continued north of Beth-hor to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. The boundary then went up to Dibri, the valley of Anchor, and turned north of Galilee, which faces the pass of Amidim, south of the George. It continued along to the waters of Enshran and came out to the Enrock. Then it ran up to the valley of Ben Hal along the southern slope of the Josite city. From there it climbed to the top of the hill west of the Hamilton Valley at the northern end of the valley of Riham. From the hilltop, the boundary headed towards the spring of water of Nethra came out at the towns of Mountain Ephraim and went down towards Bala. It curved westwards from Bala to Mountain Sna, ran along the northern slope of Mountain Jerim, continued down to Bethshem and crossed to Timah. It went to the southern slope of Ekron, turned towards Shifra, passed along to Mount Balda, and reached Jobrin. The boundary ended at the sea. The western boundary is the coastline of Mediterranean Sea. These are the boundaries along the people of Judah and their clans. In accordance to the Lord's command to him, Joshua gave Caleb son of Jephunneh a portion of Judah, Canaanite Arab in Hebron. From Hebron, Caleb drove out the three Ankites, Sherah, Amihan, Talamine, the son of Ank. From there, he marched against the people living there, and Caleb said, I'll give my daughter in marriage to the man who attacks and captures Kithrai, Othniel, son of Kenza. Caleb's brother took it. So Caleb gave his daughter Ashna to him in marriage. One day, when she came to Othniel, she urged him to ask her father for a field. When she got off her donkey, Caleb asked her, What can I do for you? She replied, Do me a special favor. Since you have given me land in a Nev, give me also springs of water. So Caleb gave her the upper and the lower springs. This is the inheritance of the tribe of Judah according to its clans. The southernmost towns, the tribe of Judah in Nev, towards the boundary of Edom, were Kenza, Eda, Jagua, Kina, Adaha, Tele, Zippo, Bethro, Hazo, Hadatha, Kethro, Hezron, Amron, Sheman, Beth, Bet, Hazza, Besheba, Bethrobala, Ethron, Kidza, Madgan, and Sazan, Lepthron, Kishran, and Rimon, a total of 29 towns and their villages. In the western foothills, Ethron, Zuron, Ashdon, Zoran, Gimnin, Tapran, Ephraim, Adhalan, Soka, Azaka, Sharain, Galilee, and Gebron, 14 towns and their villages. Zena, Midagala, Dilen, Zephra, Lachish, Zokha, Elgon, Kobon, Lamma, Kelish, Beth, Dragon, Zama, and Medeka, 14 towns and their villages. Aaron, with its surrounding settlements and villages west of Ekron, all that were in the vicinity of Ashdod, together with their villages, Ashdod, its surrounding settlements and villages, and Gather, its settlements, and villages as long as the Wadi of Egypt and the coastline of Mediterranean Sea. In the hill country, Shomron, Jati, Swarti, Dona, Sana, Aaron, Eshdon, Ami, Goshna, Oli, and Goli, 11 towns and their villages. Arab, Adem, Esten, Janim, Bethton, Hampton, and Zion, 9 towns and their villages. Maron, Cameron, Ziphren, Jota, Jezreel, Jodim, Zona, Cain, Gethron, and Timir, 10 towns and their villages. Beth Zur, Gona, Mathra, Beth, 6 towns and their villages. In the wilderness, Beth Arab, Midin, Shekha, Nisman, the city of the salt, and Engal, 6 towns and their villages. Judah could not dislodge the Jebusites who were living in Jerusalem to this day. The Jebusites live there with their people of Judah. 16. The land allotted to Joseph began at Jordan, east of the springs of Jericho, went up from there through the desert into the hill country of Bethur. It went on from Bethur across over the territory of Akites in Athophron, descended westwards towards the territory of Jeradites as far as the region of the lower Beth Horon, and on the Giza ending the Mediterranean Sea. So Mithran and Ephraim, descendants of Joseph, received their inheritance. This was the territory of Ephraim according to its clans. The boundary of their inheritance went from Athron Ada in the east to Upper Beth Horon and continued to the Mediterranean Sea. From Milhan on the north, it curved eastwards to the Tanforshuron, passing it by to the Jonah on the east. Then it went down from Jonah to Athron and Nora towards Jericho and came out from Jordan. From the Tavolo, the border went east to Cana, Ravine, and ended in Mediterranean Sea. This was the inheritance of the tribe of Emirates according to its clans. It's also according to all the towns and their villages that were set aside by the Ephraimites within the inheritance of the Mazanites. They did not dislodge the Canaanites living in Giza. To this day, the Canaanites live among the people of Ephraim, but are required to do forced labor. 17. This was the land allotted to the tribe of Manasseh as Joseph's firstborn, that is Milcah, Manasseh's firstborn. Milcah was the ancestor of the Galileans who received Galilee and Bashan because of the Milcahites were great soldiers. So this land was allotted to the rest of the people of Masna, the clans of Abizar, Heka, Israel, Shoni, and Shemidah. These are the other male descendants of Mashna, son of Joseph, by their clans. Now Zephron, son of Hipha, the son of Galid, the son of Milcah, son of Messiah, had no sons but only daughters, whose names were Maha, Noah, Malha, and Tiriza. They went to Ezra, the priest. Joshua, son of Nun, the leaders, said, "The Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our relatives." So Joshua gave them an inheritance with the brothers of their fathers according to the Lord's command. Messiah's share consisted of 10 tracts of land, besides Galid and Bashna, east of Jordan, because the daughters of the tribe of Manasseh received an inheritance among the sons. The land of Gilead belonged to the rest of the descendants of Manasseh. The territory of Manasseh extended from Ashtah to Milthern, east of SOHM. The boundary ran southward from there to include the people living in Todip. Then the boundary continued south of Kana River. There were towns belonging to Ephraim, lying among the towns of Manasseh among the boundary, but the boundary of Manasseh was the northern side of Ravine and ended at the Mediterranean Sea. And the south land belonged to Ephraim. On the north on the north to Manasseh, the territory of Manasseh reached the Mediterranean Sea and bordered Asher on the north and Asna on the east. Within Eska and Asher, Messiah also had Bethsan and the people of Dor in Dor, Takno and Meddor together with the surrounding settlements. Yet the Masoretes were not able to occupy these towns, for the Canaanites were determined to live in that region. However, when the Israelites grew stronger, they subjected the Canaanites to forced labor, but did not drive them out completely. The people of Joseph said to Joshua, "Why have you allotted us only one portion of land and one share for an inheritance? We are numerous people, and the Lord has blessed us abundantly." "If you are so numerous," Joshua answered, "and if the hill country of Ephraim is too small for you, go up into the forest and clear land for yourselves. There are in the land of Rezins and the Rephaites." The people of Joseph replied, "The hill country is not enough for us, and all the Canaanites who live in the plain have chariots fitted in iron. But those in Bethshan and its settlements, and those of the valley of Jezreel." But Joshua said to the tribes of Joseph, to Ephraim and Manasseh, "You are numerous and very powerful. You will have not only one portion of land allotted to you, but the forested hill country as well. Clear it, and its farthest limits will be yours. Though the Canaanites have loads fitted with iron, and though they are strong, they can drive them out." 18. The whole assembly of Israelites gathered at Shiran and set up the tent of meeting there. The country was brought under their control, but there were still 7 Israelite tribes who had not yet received their inheritance. So Joshua said to the Israelites, "How long will you wait before you begin to take possession of the land that the Lord, the God of all your ancestors, has given you? Appoint 3 men from each tribe. I will send them out to make survey of the land and write description of it according to the inheritance of each. Then they will return to me. You are to divide the land into 7 parts. Judah is to remain in its territory on the south, and the tribes of Joseph in the territory on the north. After you have written the descriptions of the 7 parts of the land, bring them here to me, and I will cast lots for you in the presence of the Lord our God. The Levites, however, do not get a portion among you, because the priestly service of the Lord is their inheritance, and Gad, Reuben, and half of the tribe of Manasseh have already received their inheritance on the east side of Jordan." Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave it to them. As the men started on their way to map out the land, Joshua instructed them, "Go and make a survey of the land and write a description of it. Then return to me, and I will cast lots for you here at Shiloh in the presence of the Lord." So the men left and went through the land. They wrote its description on a scroll, town by town, in 7 parts, and returned to Joshua in Camp Shiloh. Joshua then cast lot for them in Shiloh in presence of the Lord, and there he distributed the land to the Israelites according to the tribal divisions. The first lot came up for the tribe of Benjamin according to its clans. Their allotted territory lay between the tribes of Judah and Joseph. On the northern side, on the north side, their boundary began at Jordan, past the northern slope of Jericho, and headed west into the hill country, coming out at the wilderness of Beth Aven. From there, it crossed to the southern slope of Luz, and went down at Athron Dera on the hillside of the lower Beth Horon. From the hill facing Beth Horon, on the south of the boundary, turned south along the western side and came out at Kerithbel, a town of people of Judah. This was the western side. The southern side began at the outskirts of Kethron Jerim on the west, and the boundary came out at the spring of the waters of Mithra. The boundary went down to the foot of the hill facing the valley of Ben Hiran, north of the valley of Rehim. It continued down to Himron Valley along the southern slope of Josite city, so to the En-Rod. It then curved north and went to the En-Eshan, continued to Galiloth, which faces the pass of Adrim, and ran down the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. It continued to the northern slope of Bethel Arab and down into the Arab. It then went to the northern slope of Bethel Haglon and came out at the northern bay of the Dead Sea, at the mouth of Jordan in the south. This was the southern boundary. The Jordan formed a boundary at the eastern side, and there were boundaries that marked out the inheritance of the clans of Benjamin on all sides. The tribe of Benjamin, according to its clans, had the following cities: Jericho, Beth Hagoran, Emek, Ikza, Beth Arab, Zamirites, Bethra, Avim, Paran, Ophran, Kephron, Ammonites, Ophni, and Gaba, 12 towns and their villages. Gideon, Ramah, Bithro, Mizpah, Kephron, Mezro, Keran, Irpil, Tarepil, Zereth, Hefer, and the Jethites. Galilee and Kisla, 14 towns and their villages. This was the inheritance of Benjamin for its clans. 19. The second lot came out for the tribe of Simon according to its clans. Their inheritance lay within the territory of Judah. It included Sheba, Haroda, Bethra, Etron, Bethron, Haran, Ziglag, Bethron, Hazrasuzon, Beth Lefthron, and Hijrah, 13 towns and their villages. And Rimmon, Ethra, and Ashton, 4 towns and their towns, and all the villages around their towns as far as Bethurabia. This was the inheritance of the tribe of Semirites according to its clans. The inheritance of the Semirites was taken from the share of Judah because Judah's portion was more than they needed. So the Semirites received their inheritance within the territory of Judah. The third lot came from Zolan according to its clans. The boundary of their inheritance went as far as Serid. Going west, it ran to Mithra, touched the front, and extended to the ravine near Joachim. It turned east from the Serid towards the sunrise to the territory of Kishto, Toba, and went on to Dephra and up to Jephra. Then it continued westward to Gath, Ethran, Kazin. It came out at Remin and turned towards Nephra. There the boundary went around on the north of Hamthron and ended at the valley of Ithra. Included were Kata, Nehran, Shimron, Ilda, Bethlehem. There were 12 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of Zebulun according to its clans. The fourth lot came out for Ezra according to its clans. Their territory included Jezreel, Koshrin, Shemrin, Hemrin, Sharon, Anathron, Rabith, Kithron, Ezran, Bethrin, Enjinan, and Hadar, and Beth Zerah. The boundary touched Toba, Zokan, and Beth Shemesh, and ended at the Jordan. There were 16 towns and their villages. These towns and villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Judah according to its clans. The fifth lot came out for the tribe of Asher according to its clans. Its territory included Hethra, Hali, Beten, Ashtan, Alham, Ahmed, and Mishra. On the west of the boundary touched Camel and Shiron Limath. It then turned east towards Beth Dragon, touched Zura and the valley of Aithron El. It went north of Beth Enfer and Nif, passing Kabul on the left. It went to Abron, Rehon, Haran, and Kana, as far as Greater Sidon. The boundary then turned backwards towards Ramah and went to the fortified city of Thai, turned towards Hosea, and came out at the Mediterranean Sea in the region of Kazib, Homa, and Rehob. There were 22 towns and their villages. These towns and villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Asher according to its clans. The sixth lot came to Nephtali according to its clans. Their boundary went from Hephra to the large tree in Zanerhim, passing Adamin, Nekeb, and Jabnil to Lakwa and ending at Jordan. The boundary ran west through Azran, Tebron, and came out at Hakon. It touched Zephron on the south, Asher on the west, and Jordan on the east. The fortified cities were Zidim, Zerah, Hamther, Raketh, Kenneth, Adam, Ramah, Zohar, Kedesh, Kemrin, and Hazor, Ayan, Migan, Haran, Beth Anna, and Beth Keshem. These were 19 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Tumene according to its clans. The seventh lot came for the tribe of Dan according to its clans. The territories of the inheritance included Zorah, Ethron, Eshem, Shabin, Ajron, Athron, Eron, Timrah, Cameron, Ephraim, Gilithorn, Bathron, Jephron, Benka, Gath, Rinim, and Rekon, with the area facing Joppa. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Dan according to its clans. When they were finished dividing the land into the allotted portions, the Israelites gave Joshua son of Nun the inheritance among them as the Lord had commanded. He gave him the town he asked for, Thuran in the hill of Ephraim, and he built up the town and settled there. These are the territories of Elzor, the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the tribal clans of Israel, assigned by lot of Shiloh in the presence of the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meeting. And so they finished dividing the land. 20. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Tell the Israelites to designate the cities of refuge, as I instructed you through Moses, so that anyone who kills A person accidentally or unintentionally may flee there and find protection from the avenger of blood. When they flee to one of these cities, they are to stand at the entrance of the city gate and state their case before the elders of that city. Then the elders are to admit the fugitive into their city and provide a place to live among them. If the avenger of blood comes in pursuit, the elders must not surrender the fugitive, because the fugitive killed their neighbor unintentionally and without malice forethought. They are to stay in the city until they have stood trial before the assembly and until the death of the high priest who is serving at the time. Then they may go back to their own home in town from which they fled. So they set apart Kedith in Galilee, in the hill of Nithra, Sharon in the hill of Ephraim, and Kethar in the hill country of Judah, east of Jordan. They designated Bethran in the wilderness, in the plateau of the tribe of Reuben, Mithran in Galilee, in the tribe of Gad, and Goren in Bashan, in the tribe of Messiah. Any of the Israelites or any foreigner residing among them who killed someone accidentally would flee to these designated cities and not be killed by the avenger of blood prior to a standing trial before assembly.